Hello guys, it's Bushcraft family back again with another podcast. And this being my little series that I've done or have been doing about life stories. These are things that's happened in my childhood, in my past, and kind of to give, again, like I've said before, a record of stuff that I've done and whatnot, in case my kids, my grandkids, want to know who I am. Some of the things that I've done in my past that they might find interesting. Now this one, I don't know if they would be interested in this or not. It's from the past, and I don't know. I know my kids know who Elvis Presley is, but I don't think the grandkids would know who Elvis was. And a lot of people know who Elvis is. He was very iconic, the king, as he's been said. But when I did meet him, I didn't know who he was. Well, let me go ahead and kind of break this down, get started with the story, I guess. This, in the 70s, my dad was still trying to find himself. The tragedies that we had dealt with when I was younger. And he was a very, very good singer. He mainly sung country, western, some blues. But in the mid-70s, late 70s, the craze was Elvis. There was a lot of Elvis impersonators. And my dad, other than him being short, looked a lot like Elvis. So that he thought of this as an easy way of making money. He had the look, the jet black hair, the pompadour hairdo. I think that's what it's called. Elvis's hairstyle. And he could sing just like Elvis. He had a few favorite songs of his. Anyways, we were in Tennessee, Memphis, Tennessee. And I don't know if it was a nightclub or a bar, but it was a normal scene for me. Growing up during that time, didn't really have babysitters or anything, so I was always there at the bar, the nightclubs, waiting for my dad to get done doing his set, his number, his song, whatever you want to call it. And it was just a normal night for me, just sitting there, waiting for him to get done. I believe I was actually drawing at the time. And he had just got done singing his Elvis song. I can't remember the name of the song or anything, but I do remember him coming back to the table, ordering me a burger and fries, and a strange man came, very large man, walked up My dad immediately got up and shook hands with the band. They began talking a bit, and to find out this guy was, in fact, the same man that my father was impersonating. This was Elvis Presley. Again, I did not really know who he was at this time. I really wish I did. But as they sat down and talked, Elvis really enjoyed listening to my father. He said he was one of the first that he seen that didn't lip sync, that actually sung on key to his music, which I didn't know at that time what that meant or anything. I was just sitting there enjoying my burger and fries. And Elvis started talking to me, asking me how I was doing, and just normal conversation. And he says, he lifted his hand up for the waitress to come over and said, this young boy needs a peanut butter and banana milkshake. It was a milkshake. That's all I cared about. She came back with the peanut butter and banana milkshake. And he asked me how I liked it. And I said, it's yummy, you know. It's ice cream. Any kid's gonna say they like ice cream. It doesn't make any difference what flavor it is. My dad got done with his next set and came back down and sat down with me. And it sounds weird. And Elvis, they began to talk more. And as that conversation was about over and Elvis was about to leave, I remember all the jewelry that Elvis had on. That's one of the things I noticed about him more than anything, was all the jewelry that he was wearing. And I remember him rubbing the top of my head, and one of my hairs got stuck in his ring as he pulled his hand from my head. I went, ouch. And a little piece of me, I always thought this, a little piece of me went with Elvis when he left that night. Strange. Just a few years later, Elvis would pass. And that's when I really learned more about the man. My dad would always talk about the story when he was impersonating Elvis and Elvis showed up at the nightclub he was performing at. I always wondered, I wish I would have knew who he was when I met him. The questions and the information that I could have got from him, the stories. But like I said, I was just a little boy. It was just a normal night waiting for my dad to get done performing. But that is how I met Elvis. At that time, I didn't know who he was, which is sad when you think about it. But when you're young and Even though your dad sings the songs, he used to sing Hank Williams and all those songs. Conway Twitty, you name it. He used to sing them all. I didn't know who these people were at the time when I was that young. But now I hear these songs, and every time it makes me think of when I used to sit on the side of the stage waiting for my dad to get done. I remember these songs. But this is not going to be a very long podcast. It's just a little story about when I met Elvis.